All right. As I wrote this, it's 5:30 in the afternoon, and I'm on my way to another tomorrow. But then I could have a massive heart attack and be gone before the new day. No next minute is guaranteed. You know, Garth Brooks wrote a song that spoke to the issue of our mortality. The lyrics ponder if the singer made sure that his wife was sufficiently aware of his love for her, and he had prepared her to live without him. Death is one subject no one really wants to talk about. I had an old friend, family friend, pass away from cancer. Just recently, my nephew had a good friend of his, early 20s, pass away. We always live as if it happens to everyone else, but if it happens to us, it will be happening many, many years from now. I remember one of my mother's friends bragged that he would live to be 100. He made it to 50. I'm 65. My dad died at 69. My mother made it to 79th birthday. At 51, 52, I had almost stage 4 cancer. When one considers the Bible's reckoning of 70 or 80 by reason of strength, lifespan, then I'm fairly close to the end, and I'm right behind him. I see that the clock is now 12:03 a.m. I made it till tomorrow. Which now today, so tomorrow, still may not come. And if it does, there'll be a day when it does not. What will I have to show for my life? What will men say about me? Who will truly mourn my passing besides my immediate family? What will Yahweh say when I stand before him? Will his evaluation of my life be greatly different than my own or other men's estimation? While some may praise my achievements, others will curse my failings, and Yahweh will judge both. Praise him that they will be judged in relation to my acceptance of Yeshua by his mercy in saving me, and not as a man with no Savior. Still, it will be a somber time and a sad time, and quite likely a time of great loss and tears. We live for such fleeting things, waste our time on things that are destroyed while we are still here, left behind when we go, or will be destroyed when he comes. In Luke 12, verse 16 to 21, and he spoke a parable unto them, saying, the ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentiful. And he thought within himself, saying, what shall I do, because I have no room where to bestow my fruits? He said, this will I do. I will pull down my barns and build greater, and there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods. And I will say to my soul, soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years. Take thy ease, eat, drink, and be merry. But Yahweh said unto him, thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then whose shall those things be which thou hast provided? So is he that lays up treasure for himself and is not rich toward Yahweh. This guy had a great retirement program. He had assets, somewhat like Howard Hughes, who left them behind. Bill Gates, who will leave them behind. He was all set to enjoy the program, and then he was gone. Most likely someone inherited his riches and squandered them away in no time because they did not earn or understand the value of what they possessed. No wonder some wear the hat that says they're spending their children's inheritance. I remember the guy that witnessed to me used this verse because I was the pleasure-seeking heathen that was living, in verse 19, and I will say to my soul, Soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years, take thy ease, eat, drink, and be merry. Even though I had not amassed any wealth, I still followed the lifestyle. When I found it, I was using the concordance he was teaching me to use. I rejoiced until he showed me in verse 20, can we even imagine the tragedy of being so wealthy among men and then appearing in tattered, beggared garments or naked before Almighty Elohim? Those who lost all in the crash of 1929 or the dot-com disaster, remember that? Did not experience near the lifestyle change and despair that this man experienced. Yet, we continue to live like even if we are saved. Revelation 18:11-15. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buys their merchandise anymore. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all thine wood and all manner of vessels of ivory and all manner of vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and of marble, cinnamon and odors and ointments, frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men, and the fruits of thy soul, the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off, the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. There will come a day when this prophecy will be fulfilled for the world in general. But how often is a similitude of this fulfilled daily in individual lives? Jobs are lost, marriages destroyed for the lust of such things. Is your job fairly secure? Are you silly enough to think that there is no chance that you could lose it and everything you have worked for these past many years? I remember a couple praising Elohim for the house that was much larger and more expensive than the one that they had. A couple of years later, they were divorced. 2 families. Did they lose each other? The kids endured the horror of divorce because they spent more time on things than Elohim and each other. It is the best guess scenario. It may have been something else, but usually it's because they have drifted apart while grasping for things they could not keep and losing what they had, what they could not afford to lose the most. In James chapter 4, verse 13-17, Go to now, you that say, Today or tomorrow we will go into such a city and continue there a year and buy and sell and get gain. Whereas you know not what shall be on the morrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. For that you ought to say, if Yahweh will, we shall live and do this or that. But now you rejoice in your boastings. All such rejoicing is evil. Therefore to him that knows to do good and does it not, to him it is sin. When it comes to doing the things we want to do, we often never find enough time. Yet imagine that we will get to do it someday. I'll get to it. I want to do this, but I'll get to it someday. Because we have lots of time. So soon, time runs out, and all the things we cared so much about do not get done. Or get undone by the co-worker that takes your precious job, or by the one who marries our spouse. Sometimes we mean to get around to it and get right with Yahweh, but we don't have time right now. We have things that have to be done, people that must be met. If we are saved, we are always going to find our gift and serve him sometime. But we have degrees to be earned, children to be raised, mortgages to be paid, and vacations that we just have to have or burn out. Then time runs out and we face the grave because we neglected the many times Yahweh gave us to get saved. We lose rewards that would make all the riches of this world seem small because we were too busy chasing bubbles instead of laying up treasures that would last for eternity. So what if tomorrow never comes? What will be said of your life by Yahweh? Depart from me, you workers of iniquity, or enter thou into the joy of your master. You better find time to come and reason together with him about your sin and soul, and repent and be baptized in the name of Yahweh and Yeshua before you spend eternity weeping over lost time. So what about you and I? Will we hang our heads in shame, begging to come back that we might have more time to get our life on the schedule for him that should have had been on from the moment we were saved? Will the time between the start of our tears until the moment he wipes away all tears seem like eternity? It's time to be mature sons and daughters, for tomorrow may never come. In Ephesians 5, verse 15 and 16. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Is that so hard for you to see outside? 1 Peter 4, verse 1 and 2. For as much then as Messiah had suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. For he that has suffered in the flesh has ceased from sin, that he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lust of men, but to the will of Yahweh. 1 Peter 4, 17 and 18. For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of Yahweh. And if it first begins at us, what shall the end of them that obey not the gospel of Yahweh? It starts here. And if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? Deuteronomy 5, verse 9. Thou shalt not bow down thyself unto them, nor serve them. For I, Yahweh, thy Elohim, and jealous Elohim, visiting the iniquity of fathers upon children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. Verse 10. And show mercy unto thousands of them that love me, and keep my commandments. Deuteronomy 7, verse 9. Know therefore that Yahweh thy Elohim, he is Elohim, the faithful Elohim which keeps covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations. Deuteronomy 10:12. Now listen, Israel, what does Yahweh thy Elohim require of thee, but to fear Yahweh thy Elohim, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart and with all thy soul. Deuteronomy 11, verse 1. Therefore thou shalt love Yahweh thy Elohim, and keep his charge, and his statutes, and his judgments, and his commandments always. Joshua 22, verse 5. But take diligent heed to do the commandments and the law which Moses, the servant of Yahweh, charged you, to love Yahweh your Elohim, to walk in all his ways, and to keep his commandments, and to cleave unto him, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul. Ecclesiastes 9:5 says, For the living know that they shall die, but the dead know not anything, neither have they any more a reward, for the memory of them is forgotten. Also their love, their hatred, their envy is now perished, neither have they any more a portion forever in anything that is done under the sun. In Revelation 1, verse 3, Blessed is he that reads, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. Yahweh bless.